when I get to a higher level in English, I still find it hard to know what native speakers are talking about when they use lots of slang words or they speak very fast. Do you have some tips? Okay, so yes, I have some tips, but I want to make it clear that it is very unlikely to be speed. A lot of people think that speed is the reason that they can't understand native speech. And while it can be one reason, it is by far not the most important, right? If you hear me say, do you think so? You probably understood what I just said. Do you think so? Do you think so? Do you think so? Do you think so? That's really fast, and I'm blending sounds together. You probably could hear that I said, do you think so? Right? But because you know that question and you know those words, having them blended together and spoken quickly is not a big deal. Do you think so? Do you think so? If you really slow down what I just said, it would be, do you think so? I didn't say anything correctly, right? So one of the reasons is you might hear something in that fast speech that you don't understand, whether it's a word or a phrase, right? An idiom, an expression, a phrasal verb. So that's one part. So put aside the speed thing and focus on what it really is, which is the thing within that fast sentence that you don't know. How do you solve that? Should you sit down and study vocabulary words, more and more and more vocabulary words, or more and more idioms and phrases? Well, you can do that, but make sure you do it in context. I suggest strongly to try to learn 5 to 10 expressions, idioms, phrases per day that you're learning, right? In a context that you enjoy. If that's a TV show, TV series you really like, try to write down 5 expressions, phrases, phrasal verbs that you hear in that TV show that you don't know. Write those down. Make sure you know how they're used. Then look them up on the free dictionary. Look up examples. Try to make your own example sentences. Really try to understand it in context. Now, if it's phrasal verbs, understand that most phrasal verbs have multiple meanings, more than one meaning, 2, 3, 4 different meanings. So just be aware of that. You have to learn the different ones. Okay. A great way to learn is by reading. This is also the power of reading because you don't have to worry about the speed. You can focus on just the thing that you need to learn. There's the sentence written right in front of my eyeballs, and there's the phrase, the expression that I don't know, and I'm going to study it in context, look it up, figure out what it means, and figure out how I can use it. And I'm going to learn 5 a day, 10 a day at the most, right? If you do that over the next year, how many expressions are you going to learn? It's going to be quite a lot. If you keep doing that and you make it a habit, and again, I focus on you make it a habit doing something that you enjoy, then you're going to learn a lot very quickly, right? You're immersing yourself in the language, whether it's written or spoken in movies and TV shows, okay? If you're reading a book, make sure it's a book that you like. And don't force yourself to look up every single word or every single thing you don't know. Pick out, again, 5, maybe 5 a day. That should be fine. I have a course on expressions, phrases. I actually have 4 courses on the topic covering over 220, I believe, expressions and common phrases. But in that course, it's all focused on learning them from the sentences, learning how to use them naturally. So feel free to of course, check those out if you want. Okay. Now that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin are things beyond the expressions, cultural references, right? So I was talking to Francis from the UK earlier. When he's talking to me, right, my friend from the UK, he's probably not saying certain things to me that he would say to his good friend, also from the UK, right? If I were to listen in on a conversation between Francis and his other friend from the UK, there would be quite a few things that I don't understand. They might be making references to British football teams or specific things related to their shared education. Maybe they went to the same, they were part of the same school system. These cultural references within British culture that I did not have access to because I grew up in the United States, raised by wolves, right? That's maybe a story for another time. But so I know a lot about growing up as a wolf in the United States of America, and I don't have access to a lot of those movies and TV shows and things that I have heard before, but I don't quite understand about British culture. How much more difficult if you're learning English as an adult and there are all of these references in TV shows and movies that you just aren't familiar with. So you're learning the language level, but you also have to learn the culture level, right? And that's tough. That's really tough. For there, you have to truly immerse yourself. You have to have friends from that place. You have to talk with them a lot. You have to watch a lot of TV shows and movies. And that is where, honestly, TV shows, movies, especially reality TV shows, can be a great help in learning about the cultural references, those things that you don't know. I like to watch a lot of British TV shows. I like Doctor Who. I like QI. There's another quiz show I like. What is it called? Is it called Lie to Me? Is it where they make up, there are two people telling the truth and one person is lying? It might be called Lie to Me. I can't remember what it's called, but it's very funny. So I've watched a lot of British television, and from that, I've picked up a lot of stuff. There are a lot of references that I know. Still probably a very small percentage, but I've picked up a lot. So there you have a perfect excuse to watch movies and TV shows, right? You don't even have to take notes there. You can do both at the same time. You can learn the idioms and phrases and the culture at the same time. But you're paying attention, right? Don't just watch it with the subtitles from your language. If you're watching a movie or a TV show, use English subtitles if you need to. And if you don't need to, don't, right? Don't use any subtitles at all. That will work on your listening. So if you don't have subtitles, you're working on your listening and understanding, learning the culture, and learning words and phrases. Wow, you're doing a lot of things at the same time. So actually, watching TV shows and movies, if you do it correctly, can be a fantastic way to improve your knowledge of English. Not great for improving your spoken English, but great for improving your knowledge of English. So hopefully that answers your question.